Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Aftershocks of After Loss. I am Rachel Donnelly with Black Dress Consultants, and I'm about to bring our guest, Erin McCune so she's about to join us any second, and
Oh.
hello.
Oh, hey, I'm sideways.
You are sideways. Let's turn it the other
How's
way.
that? Is that better?
That is better.
All right.
How are
you
today? It's early on your side of the world, isn't it?
I've been up for a while.
Oh, well, of course. The trials and tribulations of an entrepreneur.
Yes. You as well, you know.
I do, exactly. I think I've been sending you some emails at like 3:00 in the morning your time this week. So, but that's okay. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's how we do, right?
Exactly.
Well, I've been so looking forward to our conversation.
I know. And like, I feel like I didn't even need to prepare for it because you and I will just totally nerd out on digital estates. But for those of you who don't know you, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and what you do and how our, friendship was formed, where all friendships are formed on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. So for those who don't know me, I'm Erin McCune. I'm the co-founder and CEO for EaseeNet.com. That's EaseeNet, and I'm sure you can find the link. But essentially what we do is we help families not get locked out of all of their assets and treasured memories and all the things. Both today, right? Because many people forget passwords, but then also if anything happens, and that's how Rachel and I came to know each other, was through that side of it. And you've quickly become one of my favorite people, and so I was so excited to get to join you.
Absolutely. And it's so timely because it's National Estate Planning Awareness Month. It's National Estate Planning Awareness Week.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just, like I said, we're just partying the whole month. And I feel like our conversation is so important because digital estates, your digital assets, and planning for those are one of the biggest blind spots that I see in pre-planning and end-of-life planning. So it's definitely apropos to the month, to the week, and just to every day of the year. So
yeah. I mean, I feel like to a certain degree, having these camera or computers in our hands anymore that unlock with your thumbprint or your face, right? It actually gives us it lulls us into this fake sense of security.
Exactly.
Right? Where you're like, well, why would I have to worry about it? Like, I can just get right in and, get to what I need. Not realizing that if something happens to you, how is your family going to get in? Your face isn't there. Your thumbprint, I looked it up, maybe will last 3 days.
3 days. Okay. I don't know if you've watched that show You on Netflix.
No.
Okay. All right. It's a little crazy. It's a little out there. But anyway, there was a scene in one of the episode. I mean, season 3 just came out, and there was an episode this week where a woman got murdered by the lead stars of this show. And they held the phone over her dead body to unlock her phone. And I was like, I mean, it is Halloween. It's the month of Halloween. But I was like, that's so morbid. Like that.
But anymore, like people, they feel like they have to do, if they haven't done their planning with you or, and or with me, it's like, okay, you are scrambling, you are locked out, and trying to sort it out gets insane.
It gets very messy, very expensive, and very frustrating, and a very long process. So I'd love to, because when you and I use, just as anybody in their profession, they get in the jargon and in the weeds, and you and I will just throw out all sorts of of these little, you know, jargon that we use, or, you know, acronyms all the times. But I think when I say digital estates, people kind of know what I mean, but don't really know what I mean. Or they get the, what in the heck are you talking about? So,
well, and I think to your point, like the picture that a lot of people have about what a digital estate is not comprehensive. And there's so many things that they just don't think about, right? Like a lot of people might not think about their Delta Sky Miles as part of their digital estate, you know, and there's clearly value there, right? Your credit card points, you know, stuff like that that might not occur to you. Whereas I feel like most people are like, oh, crypto would be part of your digital estate. You know, NFTs would be part of your digital estate.
Exactly.
But what's interesting is there's also so many of your traditional assets that have a digital estate component. Right. So you think about things like a bank account. Well, okay, the bank account itself is not a digital estate, but your online account for it is. The online statements are. You know, there's all of these pieces of your digital estate where it really blurs the line anymore. And you know, you and I have talked before about the book Digital Executor, where
great book.
It is. Where, you know, Sharon's talking about, okay, there's not a clear line anymore.
Yeah. And for those of you who are listening to us, Sharon Hartung, who is one of the, I'd say, leading experts in the world of digital estate planning, in our little circle, she just wrote a great book that came out earlier this year called Digital Executor. And it's her second book. You know, you and I definitely have nerded out on that book, but for anyone who's, you know, wants to learn more, it's a great book, but it does leave you with sort of this, well, what do we do now? Like there's no, like the lines are so blurred, which I think is great because she's presenting a problem that clearly needs to be solved, that we need custodians, these big companies to help us come up with a solution so that executors are able to access their loved ones' assets, their property, which is rightfully theirs after they're gone.
But I think there's also a lot of validity to the problem has gotten so big that even with the tools, someone like you know, stepping in to help them both on the pre-planning side and then, you know, after something happens, people need that guidance. They need that coach. They need, you know, there's people that are like, oh, I can do this myself. Okay, great. You know, but for the rest of us that.
Well, and I mean, but also I think it's just, you know, having an accountability partner, because I could go out there and change my own oil in my car. I'm not going to do it, but you know, having somebody there to coach you through it and to give you deadlines, I think is so important. But 100%. Let's sort of back up and sort of give everybody, you know, an overview of EaseeNet. Like, what is EaseeNet? How did you come to creating EaseeNet? And just give us a sort of the 10-cent tour of EaseeNet.
Absolutely. So I am a busy mom. Like, I'm constantly running around, constantly on the go. And when I originally had the idea for EaseeNet, it was actually because I wanted something that went beyond your traditional password manager, where it actually helped organize everything so that you didn't have to remember the URL for where you were going. Because while sometimes you know exactly where you're going, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to US Bank, whatever.
Right.
I don't remember the URL for where my daughter's school grades are. I don't remember her doctor's URL, right?
Yeah.
So being able to click on health and Ellie's doctor, and it takes me right to that site and autofills my username and password. I'm like, okay, I want that. And so we started building that, and we do have that.
I don't know what the word is, but I want that.
Right. Well, and of course, in this world of like there's an app for that, right? I'm like, there has to be this out there. And I looked and there just wasn't. So we started building it, but along the way, what we realized is not only were we solving for that problem, but we also had the ability to solve for the much larger problem of families getting locked out of literally everything if something happens. Because so much of our lives are lived online today, right? Even to an extent that many people don't think about when they're 60 or 70, right? They're like, oh, I have almost nothing online. And you're like, well, is your banking online? And they're like, oh, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about your pharmaceuticals? Oh, yeah, my pharmacy account. Yeah, there's that. And you're like, what about your medical records? Oh, yeah. You know, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're like, you do have the 150 or 200 accounts that the rest of us have.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like doing a presentation a couple of weeks ago to sort of an audience of women in their 60s and 70s. One woman was even in her almost 100 years old. And I showed her how much the pandemic just accelerated, especially baby boomers and their online usage. Anything from ordering groceries to, having their online doctor's appointments to
entertainment, right?
Yes.
Now, I mean, not that it's a huge expense, right? But by the time you have Netflix and you have Prime Video and you have HBO Now or whatever it is, HBO Max, for someone to step in and have to take over after something happens to you, they have to be able to go through and close all of these accounts. It's like, okay, you can do it the easy way where you have the information or you can do it the hard way. And you and I both know, like, how much have companies cut back on the phone support?
Oh my gosh, I know. I mean, it's the struggle is real.
The struggle is real, totally. So it's like, okay, yes, technically you could call and wait on hold and navigate the phone trees and cancel the account, or
But I mean, I know that you've experienced this, and I experienced this administrating estates personally and professionally. You call companies, many of them don't know what the protocol is of allowing families, surviving spouses, widow, like they just don't know, and they're unfamiliar. They don't even know what letters of testamentary mean. I've heard people call it letters testimonial, and I'm like, close, but not, no, that's not right.
You're like, you're so close.
You're so close, but so wrong. But so they don't even know the process and the protocol.
Yeah.
And then the other person on the other side of the phone doesn't know either. So it's this just, complete void of a process and protocol and what to do.
I mean, that's exactly it, right? The process and the protocol in many cases is still getting figured out if they've even gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Because our transition going from traditional, having a filing cabinet in your office and that's where it all lives and you get mail in, you get your bills in the mail and all this kind of stuff. It's gone so fast.
Yeah. And when you log online, I'm sure this happens to you. Every time I log into one of my credit card accounts, they're like, change everything to digital.
Right. They're like, can we offer you paperless billing?
And for I can see how with older people, they're like, sure, I just want to get to my account and before you know it, you've signed up for paperless billing. And you're like, oh, how did I do that? So whoops.
And weirdly, when you log in next time, it's not like, do you want to change your mind and not have paperless billing?
No, that takes an act of Congress to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So you created this
so
password manager, but it's not, but password manager plus.
Yes, that's exactly it. So we have a simple secure password manager that's organized by category and subcategory, and we partnered that with the digital vault side. So the document storage and the journaling and the worksheet to capture all the odds and ends that people just forget to pass on. And then you choose who your legacy contact is, you choose who's going to receive that information. And so it really just becomes part of your daily life. Like that's what we built it to be, is like, look, it doesn't take any extra time, right? This is not something you have to remember to go update every time you change your password. It's just automated. It's just, you know, it's designed so for the busy simple. People like me that are like, I can't take on anything.
Exactly. Like one more thing. And I read something that the average American spends 11 hours a year resetting passwords or something like that. People are like, 11 hours. But I mean, just that the 10 minutes of that frustration can be, even 5 minutes is so annoying. And you're just like, I don't have time for this. I gotta get my stuff done. So.
Well, I mean, you're a mom. You get it. It's like you're getting pulled in 60 different directions.
Exactly.
Like, yes, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, adulting's important. Yes, I need to, take care of this and that, and the 70 things on your to-do list that are constantly there. So, for you, what do you find for your clients? Like, what's sort of that trigger point where they're like, okay, now it's really time to adult?
I mean, well, that's a great question. Well, I think a lot of them I think the biggest thing that I've realized is I've got to go back like 40 steps, and just the education and sort of, I don't want to use this word dumbing things down, but sort of simplifying what exactly we're doing here, why this is important, and how it's going to impact not only your everyday life now, but down the road. Like, I've got to simplify it. Like, I did this whole presentation a couple of months ago, back over the summer, and somebody was like, what's a password manager? And I was like, I've got to go back about 50 steps. So I've got to sort of vocalize the pain points. Are you resetting passwords? Do you have a piece of paper in your office that has all these passwords on it that if you're not at home and on the fly, you can't access? Are you getting locked out of things? Have you been, gone into the hospital and been unable to, get your family or power of attorney to help you pay bills or access accounts? So I'm sort of trying to describe those pain points. So they're like, oh, yes, those things. I'm having those things. So just educating them about what's going on right now, and then what could be the possible outcomes once they're gone, and how that could really impact their surviving loved ones, their executor, and so on and so forth.
Well, and you think about, right, who wants to leave this big steaming pile of poo for their family? It's like your family's trying to grieve you and or take care of you in the hospital and or all the other pieces, right? Wouldn't you rather give them the gift of letting them take their time, and remember your life and celebrate you and know what your wishes are? Because that's the number one thing that funeral homes will say, is like, that's the number one question they get, is like, oh, I wish I knew what mom wanted or what dad wanted.
I don't know if you saw the reel I did today, but I was, the presumed superpowers of executors.
Like, I did. Well, I think it was in your email too, right?
Yeah.
Your email was fantastic. If you're not signed up for Rachel's email, go right now and go sign up, because it was so good.
I mean, but we expect, it's like, how many times have I worked with executors? Have you seen clients and otherwise who they're like, I don't know what my mom would have wanted. Did she want to be cremated? Did she want to be buried? Did she have a Facebook account? How do I access it? Did she have life insurance? Like, we expect our executors, our surviving loved ones, to be mind readers or mediums.
It's so true.
It's
so true. And we don't think about, okay, you've been paying for life insurance for how long, right? To protect your family, which is awesome. But like, it's something like $8 billion of life insurance goes unclaimed.
I know. I mean, let me tell you, I hate it every month when I get that life insurance payment. Like, it just pains me. But I know that I'm paying for something that life insurance, that if something bad were to happen to me, and why I would be so mad if I had paid all these years,
right?
And then my family just like didn't even know about it.
You're looking down, being like, God,
I'm like, log into Fidelity. I'm like, just people or whatever. Insert life insurance.
Your husband's waking up. Why am I dreaming about Fidelity? It's so weird.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. Why do I keep hearing USAA life insurance in my head right now?
Right?
Yeah. So like we expect our executors to be mind readers and mediums, and newsflash, spoiler alert, they ain't, honey. They are not any one of those things. They're amazing, but they're not mediums or psychics.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and even if they're the smartest people in the world, if you don't draw the map, right? If you don't.
I mean, I have literally heard somebody say to me, and I put it in my red flag alert last week, I don't need a will. My kids are smart. They'll figure it out. Just like mind blown right there. Like, are you kidding me? You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. So.
Well, and you see so many family fights that occur, right? Like irreparable damage done to family relationships.
Yeah.
When people are trying to go through, there's no will, people are trying to sort it out, even if they're operating in good faith, right? This is their most vulnerable time. Oh my gosh. Like, I know. You and I have both been through it. Like, people do not behave at their best. Like, let's
where there's
this.
Where there's a will, there's a relative. Yeah, I mean, the claws come out when somebody passes away. And what I love is that EaseeNet can be. Now, it's not going to take all the pain points away. It's not going to take.
No, I mean, we basically are estimating that it saves somewhere between 10 and 20% of the 570 hours that it takes to settle an estate.
Okay.
So you're talking about saving families upwards of 60 hours.
Okay.
Of stress and frustration, and that's assuming that if they didn't have EaseeNet, that they actually did some kind of planning.
Yeah.
Because you look at the horror stories like Lori Tate out of Seattle, right? That got run over by a car. Yeah. These guys tried to steal her purse, and then her husband didn't have her iCloud password, and she was the family photographer. So it's 9,000 photos and videos of all their family memories. He had to file a court order, get a court order against Apple, and then they still were dragging their feet, so keep in mind, he's paying attorney's fees this whole time, right?
Yeah.
Has to escalate to the local news. Yeah. And, so you think about how many hours did he spend with the attorney?
And money.
Right. But even if you leave the money aside, we're talking about a grieving
widower,
their 14-year-old son, right? Mm-hmm. Like, going through the worst days of their life, and now they're having to spend hours with an attorney and hours in court and hours arguing with Apple and, reliving everything with the local news.
Exactly.
Trying to get access to this stuff,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is just so unfair to family members. It, really, really is. So...
and it's interesting, I think, Betsy at Legacy Concierge has pushed Apple pretty hard on the whole digital legacy, which is awesome, and they are doing something about it. But I feel like a lot of people think, okay, well, now it's sorted. Yeah. Now I've taken care of my digital legacy because I have a digital legacy contact in Apple. Exactly. Not realizing that, okay, that comes with its own pieces, right? Like, they're not going to give you access to keychain. So if you think you're getting access to passwords that way, you're not, right?
Exactly. And for those of us who are listening and need more information about that, so several of the big companies, what we call the big five.
Yeah.
A couple of them, a handful of them have in the last couple of years instituted pre-planning tools or platforms within Google that allows families to, or allows you as a Google user to activate or to name an inactive account manager, so that the specified amount of time that you deem that you want your account to be inactive before someone is able to access it, you can go in and do that pre-planning tool with Google. Yeah. Same thing with Facebook. You can go in and select a legacy contact, or select that your account just be deleted upon your passing. And over the summer, Apple announced that they were unveiling a legacy contact feature. So now Apple joins Facebook and Google in the quest to allow families to better pre-plan. However, it was supposed to come out in October. We still haven't heard anything.
We're still in October. I'm going to give them some grace on that one.
Yeah.
But the piece that the good side is that it's going to let people access the memories, right? The photos and the videos and the documents and that kind of stuff. The downside is so many people don't realize that the video, the book, whatever that they purchased through Apple, right? That's not something you can give to your family. Like, as soon as Apple knows that you're no longer around, that access goes away.
Yeah, and there's a time limit to it. I think it's 9 months.
And it basically, it puts a time bomb in your iCloud account, and they haven't stated, to my knowledge. Do you know? Have they stated how long it is?
They haven't. I haven't heard anything, but it's a step in the right direction. It's not
totally
perfect.
A step in the right direction. Absolutely.
And I really like the way Google, has done it. However, it's not perfect, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And so having these tools allows you to be more intentional and strategic on, when you're doing your pre-planning. And those are the things that I, encourage when I'm working with clients. Hey, let's utilize some of these pre-planning tools already and go ahead and mark those off of our list. But within EaseeNet, I know you can go in and write down what your wishes would be and how you want to specify different access, different protocol for different accounts.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. The bigger piece is just, I would say, still the awareness piece. And I know that that's what you've encountered too, right? You talked about having to back up 40 steps. It's like, okay, let's start from kind of the basics, right? And part of the reason that you and I wanted to have this conversation this month is because for National Estate Planning, or Estate Awareness Month, and National Estate Planning Awareness Week, we at EaseeNet, we partnered with like 80 estate planning attorneys to do a campaign all around just getting that awareness out there. And not even just on the digital estate, but like, make a dang will, right?
Yeah. I was so sad to read some recent research that the number of Americans who have a will has decreased since 2005. It's now 32%, which is down from 51% in 2005. Come on, people. Yeah. I know it's hard, but
it's hard to think about, right? But at the same time, like, you don't want to leave your family with that mess and that strife and that stress and that frustration.
I know.
So we have a landing page. It actually has an article from Rachel on the landing page.
Yes, that's right.
So just go to www.makeplans.today, and there's all kinds of information for.
I think I'm gonna add that.
Makeplans.today. And basically, the entire campaign is around, look, plan your estate, then plan your adventures, right? You can live your life so much more fully when you have done this stuff. And it, you know, it takes getting over yourself a little bit, but it doesn't actually take that long, right? In the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
I promise you spent more time watching Squid Game or whatever.
Yeah, you probably have, or watching TikTok, or I don't know, whatever we've been doing the last year and a half in the COVID. But yeah, I mean, I would encourage everybody to go to makeplans.today and just, we know it's hard, but it is the greatest gift you will ever give your family. I know you know this. I know this. And friends, don't let friends do what my mama and my uncle did to me. God, I love them more than my luggage, but they left me with big steaming piles of poo to deal with after they were gone. And, you know, as I forgot her name that wrote the Swedish death cleaning book, you know, she's like, why would you expect your family to stop their lives, stop what they're doing, to deal with the stuff you didn't deal with?
Right.
And you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right, Swedish death cleaning lady. I get it. So,
and but, you know, Rachel and I get it. It's not a pile of stuff that's literally in front of your face when you walk into your house and you're like, I have to deal with this. You know, it becomes this important, non-urgent task.
It does.
So, you know, do your family a favor and just make a date with yourself.
Yeah.
To get this, you know, at least start it, right?
At least start it.
Once you get a little bit done, whether it's, you know, scheduling an hour with Rachel to go through and be like, okay, let's figure some of this out. Whether it's, you know, setting up your account on EaseeNet, which you can do in like 3 minutes, right?
And it's free to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's free, everybody. The price is free.
Yes.
Go online to EaseeNet.com and just poke around, look around, get started. And then if you want to upgrade to a more dynamic subscription.
Then it's super expensive. No, it's not. It's, you know, $60 a year. So it works out to $5 a month. Like, it's not, you know.
Yeah.
It's a set it and forget it and just know that we've got your back. And, you know, and Rachel has your back. And
yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I do virtual consulting from anywhere. So just reach out. So makeplans.today and today.
Makeplans.today.
And you're encouraging everyone who's 55 plus to be 55 alive. So the reality is,
right, estate planning is super important at any age. But if you haven't done it by age 55, it is time to be 55 alive. So
yes,
that was our hashtag is hashtag 55 alive.
55 alive.
It's like, look, is it important when you're 40? Yes. But if you haven't done it by 55, it is definitely time to get on it and take care of your family. So
it is time. And I promise you, Erin promises you that you have a digital estate.
You do.
It is bigger than you think.
Yep.
As Betsy Ehrenberg from Legacy Concierge, I think she said, if you have a keyboard, you have a digital estate.
Yep.
You
don't even need a keyboard. You can have a digital estate just from your phone.
That's true.
You know, I talk to some people and they're like, oh, I just use my phone. And you're like, that doesn't mean you don't have a digital estate.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and you can go online. I use EaseeNet, go in, and every time I log into a new account, it detects whether or not I've updated. It's like, I say you've updated your password. I'm like, how did you know that, EaseeNet? You're so smart. And then I can organize everything, and it's all there.
I mean, we can come in and be your digital Sherpa, right? And carry the heavy lifting. But Rachel will come in and be your life coach, you know?
Yes. Like I say, I'm like Home Edit, but for pre-planning and end of life. So if you've been watching Home Edit, which is a great show on Netflix. So
nice.
Well, so Erin, how can people learn more about EaseeNet? Of course, I've pinned at EaseeNet Official, which is the Instagram account.
Yep. And then you can go to EaseeNet.com, or if it's easier to remember, just go to makeplans.today. That'll drop you on our site. It'll be specific to the campaign that we're running, but up at the top, you'll find the, all the normal stuff across the top to be able to look at, how it works and get started and start your free trial and all those kinds of things. So,
yeah. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for joining me today, Erin, and continuing our love fest about digital estates. And
I know, it's always fun to come and nerd out with you.
Oh my gosh, I know.
And again, if you haven't signed up for her newsletter, go do that. It'll take 2 seconds to do.
Yes.
blackdressconsultants.com.
Yeah.
You can find it, and she's a wealth of information.
Well, I try to be. So are you. I love your blogs and newsletters too. Just sign up for newsletters. Go Laura today. So
right. If you do nothing else today, then
we'll at least guilt you into knowing that you need to go do your will or update it. So.
Well, like we talked about, just make a date with yourself.
Yes. And Daisy Death Care said thank you. Thank you, Daisy Death Care, for joining us.
Thank you, Daisy Death Care.
And Erin, thank you again so much for joining me. I know we'll talk again soon. And
for sure.
But thank you, everybody. Go to makeplans.today today. Learn more about being 55 alive.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye, Erin.
Bye.